Hi, welcome. This is a tiny bookcase, and I'm Chrissy, and today I'm going to be talking about Jane Austen July. So stick around and join me. Welcome, or welcome back if you're joining me again. But it is that time of year again, and soon July will be upon us. And of course, Jane Austen July is just around the corner. So I wanted to do this video so you would know my TBR for Jane Austen July and also some ideas for Jane Austen July reads. This year is a bit hectic. July is going to be a bit hectic month for me. July is a very hectic month for me this year. I have a lot of events going on, and I always do have several birthdays, very special ones that fall in the month of July. So it usually is busy for me. But this year I have my daughter's quinceañera. So it's really going to be hectic for the first half of July. I'm really hoping to get through my TBR this year, but if not, then they'll just continue into my revolving TBR. I usually have Jane Austen books on my TBR. I'm just hoping that I can get through my TBR this year. If not, those books will just move on to my revolving TBR and I will finish them eventually. One of the first books I'm going to share is Pride by Ibi Zoboi. This was on my TBR last year, and I didn't finish it. Last year, I only had it on audio from my Libby app. I acquired this copy my daughter's school. She got a bundle for the summer, and if you want to see, I did do a video on the Scholastic bundle that she received. So if you want to see that video, I'll link it up here. But she got several books in a bundle from Scholastics, and I was so happy to see that Pride was one of the books she received. So this is back on, well, it never really left my TBR. So I'm hoping to get through Pride this year as well. There are several challenges. Okay, let's rewind a bit. If you do not know, Jane Austen July is a readathon that occurs during July, hence the name. It is created by Katie from Books and Things, and she does have co-hosts with her that are hosting this readathon. So I will leave the links to their videos and channels down below. But the only thing you really need to do to participate in this readathon is to read a Jane Austen book, one of her 6 books, her main 6 books, during the month of July. So pretty much if you read a Jane Austen book during the month of July, you have participated in Jane Austen July. There are several challenges within this readathon. There is also a Goodreads group, I believe, and I believe the hashtag is hashtag Jane Austen July. I believe that's a hashtag, but if not, I will leave it down below. This is my second year participating in Jane Austen July. Last year was the first time I'd heard of the readathon, so I'm hoping to do a little bit better than I did last year, even with all the hectic goings on in this month of July. But let me get to the challenges. So there are challenges with this readathon. Besides reading a book by Jane Austen, one of her main novels, there are other challenges. So there's several challenges with this readathon. I don't remember them all, but I will link them down below. I do know that there are 2 read-alongs. One is Pride and Prejudice, one of Jane Austen's most famous novels, and one of my favorite, the first novel I actually, when I first learned of Jane Austen, was through Pride and Prejudice. That is the first read along. I think it's happening at the beginning of the month. The second read along will be one of her shorter works. I think that was published after her death, and that is Lady Susan. It is an epistolary novel. Lady Susan is told through a series of letters, correspondence between the characters. I read Lady Susan last year for one of the challenges during Jane Austen July, and I really did enjoy it. I'm thinking that I might revisit it and reread it this year because of the read along. But there are a couple of other options for that challenge. And so I have a collection of Jane Austen's early work. So there is a couple of titles in here. So there's a couple of options in here that I was toying with the idea of possibly reading. There's Love and Friendship and Leslie Castle, an unfinished novel and letters. I'm curious about that one. I have not heard any mention of it before. And the History of England, I've heard people mention. And then there's a collection of letters. So I'm thinking about diving into one of these selections. But I did really enjoy Lady Susan. And I have, last year, I didn't have a copy during Jane Austen July. But this year, I have the actual printed edition. I had it on audio from my Libby app last year, so I could actually follow along on a physical copy. But this is also has a couple of her other works, which is the Watson's and Sense edition, which are two other options if you wanted to go with something other than Lady Susan for her early works. Also, another challenge is to read a retelling of one of her novels, and so for that I'm continuing my Pride. I'm going back to Pride, and hopefully I will finish it this year. That's trying to make that my goal, to make sure I finish this book. I really enjoyed the beginning of it, to the part I've gone through. I had it on audio last year, and like I said, now I have a physical copy, so I'm hoping to finish that. But for my main selection, I was thinking of reading Sense and Sensibility. I haven't read Sense and Sensibility, and I've only seen adaptations of it, so I'm really curious to see if there is a major difference between the adaptations and the novel. So I really think that I'm going to make this my main Jane Austen selection for Jane Austen July. Hopefully I will get through it. My book, the copy that I have, has 353 pages, so it is quite a bit, especially because the print is so small, so it might be even more depending on your copy. My copy is it's a Penguin Classic Deluxe Edition, so I guess it just will depend on how many pages it has. I know I have looked on my Libby app, and they do have it both for e-reader and audio, and I think that I will be also listening to it as well, just to absorb it better. It does take me some time I usually reread parts just to make sure it sinks in, because it was written a long time ago, and so there are some things, especially because the time period, just for it to soak in. So I like to listen if I can get an audio version. I like to listen to it as well, but strictly up to you. Don't have to. One of the other challenges I do remember is watching an adaptation of one of Jane Austen's novel. So for that, I will plan to purchase. Last year, I believe I watched Sense and Sensibility, actually, the miniseries. But this year, Netflix has done not retelling. Netflix has done a new adaptation of Persuasion, and I think that airs on July 15th. I'm really looking forward to it. I had just learned, I didn't know that there was going to be a new adaptation of Persuasion. Persuasion is one of my favorite Jane Austen novels. I love Anne Elliot. I've only seen one adaptation of Persuasion with I'm trying to remember the actress, uh, Sarah Hawkins, I believe. I forgive me if I'm mistaken. I will leave her, the information to that adaptation down below. But it's one of my favorites, and I don't know. There's something with that story that resonated with me, and I did read Persuasion. I believe I started it for Jane Austen July, but I don't believe I finished it in July. I did finish it, but yeah, I'm looking forward to Persuasion. So if you did not know, there is a new adaptation for Persuasion. It will be airing on Netflix on July 15th, I believe. But I will leave that information down below as well. I'm sorry that this video seems to be all over the place. I don't know, my brain has been very scattered lately. It's just, I guess there's just so much going on inside my head. But I did want to get this video as soon as possible because I don't know how much I can film leading up to July. So some of the videos that I plan to film will probably be up quite later in the month and possibly into August. So they'll be a bit late. I'm just trying to get as much filming done as I can because, like I said, I'll be pretty busy at the first part of July. But yeah, so Sense Sensibility for my main novel, for my retelling, I'll be reading Pride by Ibi Zoboi. I'm not sure what I'm going to read for one of her earlier works. I'm thinking of diving into one of these, or maybe more than one, and possibly rereading Lady Susan. I really did enjoy that last year. But I do have several copies of Pride and Prejudice. As you can see, there's my other copy of Pride and Prejudice. I know that there's a read along, but I can only read so much, and I want to read more this month for Jane Austen July. I just don't know if it will be possible. So hopefully I will get through as much as I can. And I just remember another challenge. Another challenge is to read a biography about Jane Austen or a contemporary writer from her period. So I have several books about Jane Austen. This is one of them, Jane Austen, Her Life, Her Times, Her Novels, by Janet Todd. Well, this is an option for sure. I do have a few other options as well, so I will possibly make another video and share those with you. I do have one up here. 101 Things You Didn't Know About Jane Austen. But there are others out there. I have on my Libby app a couple that I was looking at. So I'm not sure what I will dive into for that challenge. It's probably going to depend on what I can get through. So it depends on what's the shortest one I can complete. Because obviously this is gonna be too long for me to finish, just with the time constraints that I have. And then there's many others. I am not familiar with Jane Austen contemporary writers. I know that Katie mentions them in her announcement video, I believe. So check out the link to her video. I will link it below or somewhere in this video, because she gives a lot of suggestions, and I believe her co-hosts as well. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with their channels, so I don't remember their names off the top of my head, but like I said, I will leave them in the description box below so that you can check out their videos. I just wanted to give you some idea of what I will be reading. It is obviously might morph into something else, but I really am hoping for sure that didn't make sense, right? It seemed like it's conflicting with each other. I would like to finish Sense and Sensibility for Jane Austen July as my main novel, and for sure. So if I can just get through these 2 books, I will feel like I succeeded in my Jane Austen July readathon for this year. Any other books that I finish will be just icing on the cake for me. I knew it was going to be a difficult feat for me to participate this year, but I really did want to participate because I really enjoyed this readathon last year, and I just was hoping that I could participate in some way. So at least if I could get those 2 novels finished, I'll feel successful. But I'm curious to hear what you're reading, and I love to watch the Jane Austen July videos. So leave me a comment below. Let me know what's on your TBR. I do plan to make more videos. Hopefully they will appear eventually. But it just does depend on how time management goes with everything going on in my world at the moment. But I thank you for joining me for this video. I really appreciate it if you stuck around to this point in my video. Like I said, I do apologize for it to be a bit all over the place. Just my thoughts are so scattered these days, and even though I try my best to edit them out or just to make this video more concise for you, it's just my brain working overtime. So I do apologize again for being a bit scattered, but I do thank you for your viewership. I really do appreciate all your views, and if you care to subscribe to my channel, I would really appreciate. If not, no worries. I appreciate your viewership regardless. But until next time, take care. God bless. See you soon. Bye.